Hi, Storm. Hi, June. How are you guys doing?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here and be here with you all. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good. Hi, June. How's your day
Hi,
going?
hi everyone, and I'm good. I'm good. I just, changed my name. So again, my name is Jun Zhu, and I'm the CEO and the founder of a company called Charger Go Go.
Yay. And yeah, sorry again, guys, we're just a little ahead of schedule, but we could start chatting a little bit. Um, well, I love your jacket, Storm. So beautiful. I love that color.
So,
Um, and today's topic is going to be the revolution. So, women in business, highlights the growing influence that women have in leadership and entrepreneurship, focusing on celebrating achievements, advocating for gender equality, and supporting women through networking, mentorship, and maybe policy changes to create a more inclusive business environment, and how to handle different scenarios and situations. So we got our speakers. I mean, I'll wait to do the intros. Sorry, I feel like I really messed up the timing with our panels here. We had, I guess some new people hopped on. So just to update you guys, we had some people drop out last minute today. So I was just sharing with everyone, lots of fires to put out. So some of the panels got a little bit shorter. But yeah, how do you, maybe that's a good question before we hop into talking about women's, how do you guys handle chaos in your business? Like, do you guys ever have, you wake up and you have like a million fires you have to put out? Isn't that, yeah. Is that something you guys deal with? How do you handle it? Does it stress you out still, or do you guys feel like you can handle it in a calm way?
for myself, I know that I control my reactions. Things are going to come at you all the time, whether it be personal, whether it be professional, whether it be from any external force. And you always have control of your reaction to that. And it's in that reaction that you create the energy around you. So, for example, like you said, you have 1,000 things, that are coming. Just take 3 deep breaths, prioritize, or allow the energy to guide you as to what rises to the top. And then, just calmly and easily begin to chop away at that list. That's my
Hmm.
process.
Sure. I do see a question came through. Sophia, this is Mark. How do you tell the difference between negative self-talk and just realistic self-talk? That's a really good question. Um, I think negative self-talk is just when you start being way too hard on yourself and you're saying, oh, I'm dumb, or, I'm not good enough, I'm stupid. Whereas I think realistic self-talk is more, okay, maybe that didn't go as I planned or hoped, but where can I improve, or how can this be different in the future? So just not talking to yourself in a way that is harsh or mean, or a way that you wouldn't talk to a best friend, I would say. But hopefully that's helpful.
I can add to that where
Yeah.
your higher mind is never going to be judgmental and or critical. That's the easiest way to look at it. If you have, some you're not enough, you you didn't do this right, or any of those, that's your ego mind and your human mind, just from the conditioning that you have. Your higher mind is always going to be supportive and encouraging and asking you to look deeper into a situation, but it's never going to be critical and or judgmental.
Mm. Love that. Love that. Awesome. Well, we got Lexi here now. Hey, Lexi, thanks for
Hi, Stephanie.
joining.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. Well, we'll start the Women in Business panel then. So I'm just going to intro you guys first, and then we'll hop into it. So Lexi Kaz, she excels at securing prominent media features. She's establishing a strong digital presence and implementing efficient automated systems. By leveraging these elements indefinitely, she ensures sustained growth and influence in public relations. Her approach is all about continuous refinement and repetition of these strategies to maintain and enhance her success. So she has an amazing public relations company that I work with. And she's young and she's tenacious and really, really smart. So it's awesome to have her here on this panel. And then we have Storm Katoshe. Storm is an Oracle advisor, a consciousness educator, strategist, consultant with a diverse background in global customer relations, real estate, and advanced wealth strategies. She has built a successful independent real estate brokerage, created generational wealth for families, and created a luxury consciousness-inspired clothing and accessories brand. She now focuses on helping founders, executives, and leaders lead from a place of alignment and divine inspiration, fostering thriving organizational cultures, strong interpersonal relationships, and long-term success in the workplace and life. Storm is definitely a force of nature, has done incredible things, and has such a high vibration. So it's so great to have her on our panel today. And then we have June Zhu. June Zhu is a serial entrepreneur and business expert who founded Charger GoGo, the top portable charger sharing network in the US. She strategically relocated to her company to Las Vegas to capitalize on the city's growth. Before Charger GoGo, she co-founded a blockchain entertainment platform while earning her MBA at UCLA. With expertise spanning China and the US, June excels in cross-border business and cultivates collaborative, intercultural professional networks. Her innovative achievements have been widely recognized in both countries, in the US and in China. And June is also an amazing force. She's doing tech, working with tons of different people in business, including men, and has come from China all the way to the US, also a force to be reckoned with. So great to have you, June. So these are our amazing women on the panel today. So I'm just going to start
I
by
want to add
asking you
one more
guys.
thing about myself. I'm also like a big fan of some spiritual stuff, and I'm like a alien hunter as well. I haven't hunted one, but I'm always looking for one.
I love that. Yes. We are as well. We're always like sending each other pictures about like spottings. So love it. Well, so I'll just start with asking, how did you guys overcome biases as a woman in business? And how do you deal with them professionally? And then what advice would you have for women who are facing with this? And then how to deal with that? Maybe June, if you want to start.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So, well, I guess as I shared before, I'm not just a woman, and also in this country, I'm a minority. And even though I actually, older, maybe by my look, that my looking, so I'm like, looking young, and I'm a woman, I'm a minority. So I would say like I face a lot of a challenge, getting those like a bias towards my gender, towards my age, towards my, race as well. But I think, how to overcome it, or what kind of advice we should give to people is, I think in the workplace, bias not just towards those gender, racial stuff, it could be anything, right? If anybody, right, in your workplace or you deal with are not giving you, how to say, like a positive energy or strength or support, right? And maybe you should, just keep yourself away from that person, and you need to like definitely surround yourself with support, and also like a positive energy people and stuff that will gradually just help you to grow yourself. And also another thing is, don't ever underestimate yourself. I have this poster in my office saying like, whether you believe you can or cannot, you're right. So if you want to do good, you should always believe you can achieve that goal. And while you don't underestimate yourself, on the other hand, I would say don't ever overestimate, those the impact, right? Or those damage, those kind of, gender, racial bias might bring to you or to your business or career. I think I would love to, share one true story I had. So I was once at a trade show, and there were two older white men stopped by my booth, and so I greeted them, and it was like presenting them our product and stuff. And then in the middle of the conversation, one man just point to my like director of the sales, apparently a mid-aged bald white guy, and he asked me. I said, "Oh, who's that guy?" And I replied, "Oh, that is the director of our sales," right? And then this man turned to another man, come with him, was like, said, "That's the right person for us to talk to. We should talk to him." And then I, introduced them. My sales director was like very awkward at that moment, and explained to them, "I am actually the CEO of the company." And then the man looked at me and said, "I still don't believe you're the CEO. You must be the granddaughter of the CEO or something like that," right? So apparently they didn't take me seriously enough to be their like business partner, even though they are interested in the venture or the product I built. Then we were talking about some collaborations to getting ChargerGoGo into Walmart. Instead, right? I feel like it's just I'm gonna like waste too much of my strength and energy to overcome that bias, with them. Why not just go directly to Walmart? It turns out I actually successfully with the help from my team, we brought ChargerGoGo to Walmart. And so that is like one example. I think through this experience, what I want to say is one, gender bias definitely exists, right? Two, its negative impact is not as big as you might think. And the third thing is you no matter what, you need to be like a brave enough to ignore how people think about you and just focus on getting your things down, right? And eventually prove them wrong. So I would say this is like my advice, to people who are still like struggling with this kind of, bias as a woman business leader or professional.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing that story, which I think a lot of women can relate to as well. Yes. Well, maybe Storm, would you like to go?
I have a lot of similar experiences probably as June, being an immigrant, being a woman, being a minority, and being in businesses such as finance, particularly, and real estate. I know people are like, "Oh, all the women, all the agents are women," but most of the brokerage are male dominated. So at that time, what I did was lean very, very heavy into my masculine side, speaking up, making sure I was heard, not allowing any of it was almost like forcing that energy. I fit in here. I'm strong. What I came to understand is that when I bought into all of those stereotypes, being a woman, being Black, being, all of those things, how much I was really limiting myself. When I came to understand myself as an eternal being and stood in that power, I literally just transcended all of that. And it's a matter of staying in that power and knowing who you are, knowing that you are not bound by any of this 3D earthly societal constructs that people want to put up on you. And staying in that power will just give you the energy and the will and everything to do things on on a way that's just easier, calmer, and bringing in results that are far more expensive. Exactly, just as June's example. She didn't try to convince these guys who she was. She stood in her power and got everything that she wanted far greater than what they could have given her anyway. So that's mine.
Well, Storm, I want to, share, a movie. Actually, a friend of mine produced this movie, probably 15 years ago. It's called The Associate. You know,
Mm,
the star with Whoopi Goldberg in
mm,
there. And I think, President Trump was there as a, played himself as well.
mm,
Anyway, so this movie is about, an African American woman trying to thrive, in Wall Street, right? In the finance, like white male dominated kind of industry. So I don't want to spoil the plot. So you guys can definitely watch it. This is to that topic.
yeah, yeah.
I need to watch that. I've never seen that.
I
Yeah.
know, I
Thanks.
haven't
It's
either.
like an
Yeah.
old
Yeah, it's on
movie.
my list now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Lexi, would love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Well, no, those were both great. And I think mine, I know I mentioned to you earlier, Sophia, my, I'd say, story was focused, or I experienced with my age because I started my business when I just dropped out of school. And I know that that was it was one of my own, I'd say, like limiting beliefs, but also at the same time, I was conscious of that. And I'm not sure if it was, I mean, I am sure that it was society or just my own worries, because once I started and actually started building my business and taking sales calls, I think one person out of 200 of my first calls might have asked. And it wasn't even in a way of like negativity. It was just like, how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking? And I was honest and I said 19, and they were like, that's awesome. And so I think that was a cool, I'll always remember that as one of the pivotal limiting beliefs that I broke through, because that was one of my biggest self-conscious limiting beliefs was I'm, yes, a woman, but it was more around the lines of I'm young, I'm inexperienced, and that added pressure, or just, talking to a lot of men that have more experience, because it was primarily, thank you, it was primarily men that I was, working with. And so I'm very grateful for that experience, because now when I work with women specifically, I also just have an even more of appreciation for it. And with you specifically also, Sophia, it's always great to work with women who have just started and done it, whether they had experience or not, because I dropped out of school. I was playing college soccer, and COVID happened, and life just wasn't, I wasn't happy in my environment, as many of us experienced during COVID in our own ways. And so, yeah, I'd say that that was one of my biggest stepping stones that I can reflect on with so much gratitude and pride in myself for navigating that when I didn't have that experience. But I went online, I got I invested in a course, I just figured it out. And I think that's another good piece of experience that I've learned and apply now to any skill or course or thing that I just want to learn. Like even learning a language, like I just I know I can just figure it out. That doesn't mean that I'm going to get it easy, but I think putting in that energy and effort, I can, pull that experience from my business and apply it to anything in life, whether it's language, relationships, whatever. But yeah, that's my story.
I love that.
Just to add a little bit more onto Lexi's point with age, I'm in the Bay Area, so I'm in the center of tech and hardware and software and all of that. And so in a lot of these spaces, whether it's investment pitching spaces or just meetups or things like that, I'm really, really noticing how many founders are like 14, 16. And are literally on their second companies. Like it's refreshing. energizing. It's just all of those things. So just know that, yeah, that age thing that Lexi broke through, that's more and more, I see that completely falling away.
Yeah, I want
Awesome.
to add something on that age thing as well. I think specifically, in the tech world, maybe the bias is the other way around. If you're older, they probably think you cannot catch up the pace. So how does society change, right? If you look at the like a larger tech companies when they do their hiring, they did well. Apparently, they cannot say that I prefer a younger, engineer or something. But if you look at the fact that they always hire like younger engineers, if you're age over 40 or 45, but you're engineer, they probably think like, well, you might pick up things slower than the younger people. So I would say, don't be insecure about age.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I feel like if anything, I always just wish I started younger because it really is just figuring it out on the way. And yeah, the
Yeah, and
struggles are still the same
especially
as you get older.
Yeah, and especially nowadays, like I have a 15-year-old son, right? What I notice, like I compare him with me being at that age. I feel like he know much more that I used to at that age, because now the young kids can learn things from internet, now it's ChatGPT, AI, and all sorts of the, resources. So I think, with the development of the intelligence, right, you're capable to do a lot of things at a younger age now. So, and well, I want to just, add this, idea as well. I was saying like, don't associate with, you with people who has bias, can never be changed or not open-minded and stuff. I think, I forgot where I hear this, but it's like, let's say, a bottle of water, right, in the supermarket might, worth like a dollar. Maybe at a vending machine, it's $2. Maybe at an airport, it's $5. But at like a wing resort, it's $20. So you need to place yourself at the right market or right place. So you're gonna, carry much more value. So I think the same analogy can be applied to, the business world as well. If you're just surrounded by yourself, with people cannot have an open mind, to accept women are just, capable as men, then I think you are towards yourself, and you might make that mistake once, but if you keep yourself in that kind of environment, that's your choice. So that's your fault. Yeah. So that is something I would love to, add on to this.
Yeah, that's so true. I think environment it really dictates so much of what happens in your life and your personally, professionally. And it's right, you can't change the environment, but you can choose to take yourself out of it. So yeah. And sometimes that's unfortunate because you feel like, okay, if you continue dealing with biases, do I have to keep leaving the company? And, it can be frustrating. But that kind of leads to my next question, where it's like, how do you guys deal with, these biases or judgments coming at you in a practical way? So if you're dealing with it in the workplace, but let's say you can't leave the job or you haven't found another environment to go to yet, how do you deal with that in a graceful way that's still honoring yourself too?
Perception, right? It's a shift in your perception of what is happening. So let's say it's in the workplace and it's, a superior or a manager. You can, and like you said, are stuck there. You shift your perspective into what can I still learn from this? What about this environment, whether it's the people, the customers, the work itself? How can I find in any of these other aspects of it to excel for me to be fully expressive? So, rather than showing up every day like, oh my God, I have to deal with this again, like seriously, or, oh, this is like a really interesting observation of this person. You can observe a situation without entangling yourself in it. So you can look for the high points in in that workplace or that person. And I think with any person, if it's coming directly from a person, here's where you have an opportunity to practice mastery, which is understanding that every person in this density behaves as they do based on the information that they have, but also the information that they have accepted. So if you see someone, that's behaving in a way that is unkind, have compassion to know that that's their soul's journey. You can observe it, but you don't have to entangle yourself with it, right? And yeah, just move on from that. You can hold your boundaries, but you don't have to get into a conversation, an argument, or any of those situations that's going to then bring you into that lower energy state.
Yeah, love that.
I think, yeah, piggybacking off of that, in October, I experienced a lot of incredible growth with my companies and I feel within myself. And I was reflecting on how I feel I put that into place. And I started to journal again. And I know it's such a simple concept that, oh, journal or I don't have time to journal, or there's so many different opinions on it. But I noticed such a significant impact, kind of going off of what you said, Storm, of like tapping into your own inner strength and um, uh, tapping into your own ability to be ready for what you want to receive. And I think that was like being able to get so clear, because in September I didn't hit the goals that I wanted. And I was bummed because I was wanting to hit that, that goal in September. And I journaled like once about it. But then I reflected, I was like, why wasn't I able to hit that goal? And there were multiple reasons, but I wasn't staying consistent enough with my tracking of my own internal progress with journaling. But I also didn't break down my goal enough. And I know I'm kind of getting a little off topic of what you asked, Sophia, but I think it kind of all reflects in terms of like journaling with tapping into that. Now I do it every day, and I won't stop, or I don't plan on stopping, because I feel it's unlocked such a like strength within myself and conviction. If I want to go after something, okay, I can break it down. I can remove myself from, if I can't remove myself from the environment, I can remove myself from that thinking, is kind of what I'm trying to get at, of like, I can deconstruct, okay, if I want to hit this revenue goal, how much do I need to sell, or what's a bottleneck that's preventing me from doing that? And I think when I actually dissected the goal that I wanted, it removed my negative thinking, but because I was so focused on the action steps that I put into place, that I didn't even have time to focus on any, negativity or challenges that I had to face, because that's inevitable with all businesses. But yeah, I think I just wanted to share that because I feel it could relate to what you mentioned, Sophia, and also just in general with growth that I experienced with it.
I love that. Yeah, I love journaling. It's such a great way to get energy out onto the paper and see your
Yeah.
thoughts and organized. Yeah, that's such a great tool.
It's a really, really, really powerful tool, that one that I teach and that a lot of people don't really give as much credence as it's due. It's a really, really powerful tool to tap into your higher mind, to ask yourself those questions. And it's journaling. I also call it automatic writing. So if you ask yourself a question, just write. Do not edit, do not think, just write as to what is coming through. And then when you go back and read it out loud, you will see clearly that it's not your human mind speaking, that information is channeling directly from your higher mind.
Love that. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
All right. I think, I think for me, first of all, I'm very grateful, being raised by Asian parents. So it kind of, gave me a gift called a great. So I think, that bring me, as like, Asian kids have like a tough Asian parent, they always say like, well, tough words, right, in front of your face, and you got to beat down and just stand up again. And just, you grow up that way. So I think what I want to say is like, in my opinion, right, I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I love my work, right? I don't think work is a place to like always bring you happiness and joy, but I still love it because it's my mission and I want to accomplish it, right? So because of that goal, I think, it gave me that great, right, to like be persistent, and I can overcome a lot of like those obstacles or challenges or difficulties, as Sophia, you were mentioning, like what happened when there's a last minute kind of fire, happened in your workplace or life or stuff like that. I guess, the first thing is you need to allow things happen, right? Because the environment, whatever, happened is really just out of our control. If you try to control everything and you feel like frustrated, deeply, like, feel like you got a bit down if something doesn't happen the way you expected, and associate yourself too much with that fact, or certain things happened, then that will, I think, will, took your down, and, will make you depressed, or, some bad kind of a negative emotions will really bring you the how to say, like the impact, right? And our words is like your life is, you know, 10% of what happened and then 90% of how you react to it. So if you don't overreact it and you look at it, well, when things happened, right, whatever, or difficult problems happened, try to look at it as like, a bird's eye or God's angle. And those are just the fact, or problems or challenges you need to like deal with. It's like if you look at our life as a virtual reality, right? It's a game. If it's a game, it's gonna be a roller coaster. If it just like from A to end is just the same as how you began with, then it's boring, right? So with that kind of a perspective, how you look at life, I think will ease your mind a lot, and you will have better, how to say, like a state of the mind to how to say, like to handle those negative problems, or things happen to you. So I would say this is something I want to share. Also, if the thing happened to your workplace but you cannot leave it because it's important enough, you need a salary or something to raise your family, you juggle with it, right? Maybe you spend 8 hours miserable at work but you cannot leave. Then you can spend the rest of the spare time with your family and friends who are supportive, loving, and friendly, right? So that can balance the negative impact and the positive impact. So that's another way, I would say, to handle this kind of a situation as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so much is perception and how you see things, for sure. Creating the right environment, and then tools like journaling and how to sort out your mind and take care of yourself. And what I want to add, at least that helped me in the workplace, is because even when we talk about women in business, it's like we also need male support. So it's the divine masculines that also help us in these situations. So I think finding your allies, because yes, there's always going to be the naysayers, but you also have your allies all around you. So, find the supportive people in the company, find the people you can talk to and relate to, and don't isolate yourself. Because I think, even I've worked in corporate too, but sometimes people keep a barrier, like there's no personal relations. But you'll be surprised when you actually do talk to people how many times they've also experienced it. And it's a great way to bond and kind of feel that support while you're still riding out the situation. And who knows, maybe the more people you tell to, I've realized it can guide you out of it. Then they might say, oh, I know someone who can help. And that actually happened for me. So similar to you, June, it was one of my first trade shows, and I was working for a Wi-Fi company, and it was in municipal. And I was the business development manager. And then all the guys would come up to me and they'd assume that I was the booth babe. So they would be like, oh, yeah, you're the booth babe. You're the mom. I'm like, well, actually, I can help you. I'm the business development manager. And they thought it was like hilarious. And they would just laugh. And then they would bring other guys. And it was hard. I was young. I was 22. I was trying to prove myself, trying to be a manager at the same time. But it was actually my boss who really helped to protect me, because I didn't know how to handle that situation. It was very awkward. If they're supposed to be clients, they're giving you their business cards, and now you feel uncomfortable. They've been hitting on you. And so my boss would always notice. He was this Indian engineer guy, and he would always come and sweep in, because he would ask me, he's like, how are you feeling? I noticed that was really like creepy. I said, yeah, I don't know how to handle the situations. He's like, okay, like that happens again, just look at me and I'll come over. And it would continue to happen throughout the conference. So I'd look over at him, and then he would beeline over and really help. So again, and then the great thing about him was he saw how hard it was for me, that he actually had a friend who was starting a company in tech doing fashion in tech. So social shopping. And he was like, you know what, that might be a great fit for you. And so again, he was an ally that I found, and then he was able to also help me get out of that situation and find something better suited for me. So just want to add that tip as well. Find your allies. Yes. And so I want to also ask, in that case, what advice do you guys have for women to become more successful as businesswomen and entrepreneurs amongst so many successful men and male-run businesses?
For me, it's always going to come back to know the truth of who you are and stand in your power. And in that, the universe conspires to work with you. I do believe in following your passion, whatever that passion may be, and you don't have to figure everything out all at once. Start with whatever it is that you are passionate about and take the first step towards that. And then you'll see how the next perfect step will continue to, move you forward. And, a lot of people think it's the pushing and the grinding and all of that. But, again, what I teach is when you're in that alignment, when you are in that constant communication, when you are acting on your passion first. This may come back around to the previous question where you asked if you have to be, in a work environment that's not conducive to what you want to do. Before you go to work, if you do have a passion, whether it's fashion or sports or anything like that, do that first. Find the time to do that first, and then go to the day job or whatever, and you'll see how it will evolve to where your primary will become your passion. So know the truth of who you are, stand in your power.
Yeah, I think that was great. It's hard to follow that, but I think I just wanted to add on to that, because I know I talked about journaling, but someone reached out to me the other day, like a friend of a friend, and she kind of asked, like, I've always wanted to start a business, or I know I have kind of skills of like diving into business, but I think what I recommended to her could be applied to if you want to start a business, if you have a business, if you're seasoned in your business, because it reflects back to the journaling kind of template, I would say. And I said, there's this, well, you can go online and find a template called the Ikigai like breakdown, or Ikigai template, if anyone's heard of that. Like, I know there's not a direct translation, I think, in Japanese, but I believe it's like the flow state, like locking into your flow state, but also finding something that you love and that you're passionate about. It doesn't feel like work, and that when you do it, you don't think about anything else. And for me, my ikigai was playing soccer because I would just walk in. I didn't think about anything else, no anxieties, no worries, not even like no positive feelings per se, because I was just so engulfed in what I was doing, and I felt incredible. And let me see, is this the ikigai? Yeah, exactly. Yes. Angela. Yeah. So it's such a great template because I mean, there's books on it, and I've read the Ikigai book, but essentially you can create this Venn diagram of sorts that I know I recommended it to her, but I want to do it myself because it's such a good reminder of tapping into not only what you're passionate about, but you could use it to dial down on your vision with your business, or maybe a bottleneck that you're experiencing because you're not passionate about it, or how can you reverse engineer something that you are passionate about and then apply that towards your ikigai. So yeah, I love this as a template. Yeah, so that I would say that piggybacking off of what Storm said, I feel there's relations there.
I love that. Yes. Japanese philosophy.
Yeah.
All right, I think my advice would be like, focus more on your strength, not your weak points.
Mm.
I think as a human being, nobody's perfect, right? No matter is, a man or woman or whatever. I think, for example, like oftentimes I heard this feedback from a lot of my, let's say, business partners, friends or whatever, and they said, oh, Jim, you're just too nice to your employee and you're not ruthless enough. And maybe those are just some quality or characters, me as a woman, right? Might be like taking it as like, a weak point. But on the other hand, I think because of my, my personality not being like a super ruthless or and things like that, I'm more friendly, and people feel more comfortable, open their heart to me and my employees. They would not just report me to the business stuff, right? They tell me about their life. They tell me about their like whatever problem, they're even like a romantic relationship, their history and the stuff, right? So we become more than just like employer and the employees. We become like a friends that kind of a strength the team spirit as well. That's just one example. What I'm trying to say is just again, focus more on building your strength, right? Not just develop your weak points, or just only look at your weak points, right? So as a woman, I think in general we're more kind and nice, and we're pretty, and we have good fashion sense, and we're more trustworthy, and we're less egocentric, right? And also, I guess, for most of the women, we're more resilient and persistent. So all those good qualities, I think, is gonna, you know, become like the superpower as a woman. In you, and also we're not competing with a man. Or so I often say this, I don't need like as a woman, I don't need a privilege. I just need to be treated equally. And what men is capable, I'm capable. It may be just, take a different approach, a different way. But look at what I have built. I think I can this kind of prove that way as a woman leader we're able to.
Love that. Yes, very powerful. We do have time for one more question. So I want to ask, how do you guys see the future of business developing for women and within your guys' specific industry?
I can go first if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I think when I built Charter Go, even like, when I chat with some of my like, girlfriends or women friends, right? I always tell them, because oftentimes, there's like a girls talk is about like, oh, my husband this and that, my kids this and that. But no matter you're a stay-home, like a housewife, or you're, a young, like a women professional, I think it's extremely important to keep financial independence. So I know this could be like a very, very challenging, especially for some housewives have to take care of the family and the 4 or 5 kids at home or something like that. So, all this idea always like in the back of my head is we build Charter GoGo, for example. um I will, to be honest, most of our like distribution partners who does Charter GoGo as a business, right, are still like male business owners. But I designed this business or this business model in a way that allows a lot of you know stay at home moms, or like those young women professionals who has other obligation, right, to take care of their family, but also are able to do this as their own business on the side. So what I want to say, like, well, I believe Charter GoGo is not the only way that allows that kind of schedule for for women, right, to work and earn more like a respect, or contribute more to the family financially while taking care of the family. So definitely looking for those what I call the passive income opportunity, or like flexible job or business opportunities, right, to still like stay in the workplace, right. And I think that will not only just keep yourself right in the society and learn more things, and to be how to say, like like a financially independent. Also, trust me, you're gonna earn more respect from your husband and the men around you. So I just want to give that advice, as today's topic. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I think earning passive income is huge. And just to give background for people listening, June's company, they have charger stations on the go. So you might have seen them at airports or things like that, and you can take one out. But what's cool with hers is you can take one out and then put it in any other station. It doesn't have to be the same station. And those are now passive income opportunities. So you can invest in one of these charger stations, and then you can collect passive income on it as people start to use it. So yeah, it's a very cool, like low barrier entry kind of passive income opportunity that's really blowing up right now. And it's huge in China. And a lot of people are investing in that. Yeah.
Thank you, Sophia.
And Lexi or Storm?
Well,
Yeah.
For my industry, which is consciousness education and, the whole spiritual community, predominantly the most of the people in that industry are women. I do see like literally a huge shift in the collective consciousness where whereas people before may have kept the two separate so far as work and their spirituality over here, I see the merge coming together where people are understanding that align how important that alignment is, not only to themselves but also to the business. And I see companies wanting to incorporate more what is now considered alternative healing modalities as part of a wellness package. I see light workers, from grid workers to channelers to all of the healers really being empowered and really getting the backing through the financial backing through fellowships and different organizations like Summit and like Dow and just all of these organizations that understand where our planet is going and are now don't look at that something that they can't speak freely about. So I see a really, really great change in women in this area being able to lead And like I said, I work with CEOs and founders. So it's literally coming from all directions to contribute to that shift.
Yeah. No, I second both of what they said in terms of like excitement, but also making sure to stand in your power. And I think the biggest piece of excitement that I'm looking forward to seeing and seeing growth in is just women wanting to learn more about ways they can, kind of what you were saying, June, of building their own passive income, but also willing to learn and step outside of their comfort zone if they don't know a skill. And maybe I'm reflecting more on myself when I didn't know anything about PR and I just found a course online and learned it. And I think having that will to just figure things out will, I'm seeing that more and more with, all of us here, of course, but women that at all ages, whether they're stay-at-home mom or they have a business degree, or they didn't even go to college, all of that I think it's great to see the opportunities of this digital age where women can just tap into their creativity if they want to learn something. So I know that was short, but that's short and sweet for me.
Or even just become a, internet influencer on TikTok or something. You can still earn
Yeah.
on that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. Thank you guys so much for sharing such valuable insights and your incredible experiences throughout your career. I think everyone walked away with so much value. And for anyone listening, we dropped the links in the chat so you can check out their websites and find them there, follow them on socials. And yeah, that's really it. Oh,
Shift to the community. I just want to give like one little nugget that's a really, really
please do.
shift in the community. And it has to do with when you introduce yourself, right? And I want to show you the power in the I am. Most people will say, I am, insert name here, right? And when you do that, that kind of limits you to the identity of this 3D existence, where just notice the shift when you say, my name is, insert name here, because what you are is sovereign and limitless. And so if you begin to use that daily, you will see an expansion in what opens up to your vision, your insight, your creativity, and all of that. So that's just one little practice that you can do daily.
Oh, I love that. Yes. And if you guys want to get more consciousness work or advice, I highly recommend Storm. She's incredible. And Lexi, if you guys are looking for any public relations, she really has a really great team and solutions. And everyone here is just top notch. So thank you guys. I think we really appreciated your time. Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Amazing day,
Thanks.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Yay.
Bye bye.
Bye.